James, a lot of questions surely for you, but we will start with your teammate, Robert, today. Drove a pretty good race.
Yeah, he led every lap that he was part of. No, that was obviously really cool. I mean, I was already strapped in the car, so we didn't get to kind of see the TV, but I was just kind of watching everybody's reaction. So I could tell when he was getting close to a wall and Carly's face was lighting up based on how everybody was reacting. And, you could hear the cheers every corner of the racetrack, even from inside the car. So it was awesome to see him back on track and in front of the home crowd, and awesome to see the support that he had.
Last 4 years here, you've raced to a third place finish, fourth, and now a sixth. You obviously race well here. It had to be a very exciting weekend for you, and then cap with a pretty strong performance, the biggest mover of the race.
Yeah, I mean, with the race playing out the way it did, there wasn't a lot of strategy to be had with tires. There wasn't a lot of strategy to be had with fuel, and there were really no, notable cautions to bunch the field back up. So we didn't really have any help today. We kind of had to just do it on the racetrack, and the aero car was solid, which has kind of been the story of our year. We've had problems on Saturdays, whether it was self-inflicted or bad luck, but Sunday this team really shows up. And qualifying was unfortunate. We had the 8th fastest time of qualifying, but started 14th just due to the nature of the way the groups worked out. And, if we had started a little higher up, we probably could have kept that top 5 streak alive. But proud of the effort the guys put forth, like I said, with really no help with yellows and strategy. We just had to sort of push our way to the front and capitalize on other guys' mistakes. So all in all, not the end result that you want, but I think the effort that we put forth was pretty impressive.
Questions? Patrick?
Just not to belabor the Robert thing, but take us through your mindset of switching off. You're in the car. You're ready to go. You see this emotional thing, and then you got to flip a switch and go racing and take care of business. How do you do that?
It's sort of nature of our sport. I mean, obviously, it's not every day that something quite that cool happens right before you get in the race car, but we're shaking hands with sponsors and taking pictures with fans up to the minute you put your helmet on. I think there's no other sport where we're still interacting with people outside of our program so close to game time. So we're really seasoned at being able to flip that switch almost instantly. So this was kind of a good example of that. Like I said, the particular thing was a little more emotional, a little cooler than what you normally have distracting you before a race. But I think if anything, it just it certainly lifted me up, and I think it lifted every driver on the grid up, just because we were all so happy to see it happen.
Question in the back.
Hi, James. Rudy Blair, Entertainment Media. Were you surprised in how fast the track was, the fact that there weren't any crashes, no real bumps, I mean, a little bit, but everybody was really able to handle themselves, and very quickly, too, where's this party of yours at tonight?
Well, I think that the quality of driver in the IndyCar series has gotten so high the last few seasons. We've seen a lot of races go essentially caution-free. I mean, I know this technically wasn't a caution-free race, but for all intents and purposes, it really was. We had our lap 1 deal and then obviously the last lap, but I don't think either one of those affected the race too much. It just goes to like I said, it shows the quality of driver. Even the guys that had mistakes were able to kind of recover from them. Bourdais got himself out of the tires, and Sato made it back to the pits. And that's, fans I think want to see, racing. They don't want to see caution periods. So for a track that's sort of notorious for having a lot of incidents, I'm impressed with the field. I mean, 1 or 2 may have helped us, close the gap and maybe get another spot or 2, but race control has made an active effort to try to keep it green as much as possible, and I think other drivers are just doing a better job.
Was that perfect?
I don't know yet. We're still working on it.
I suspect you know. Matt?
Looking ahead to next weekend at Iowa, with that race being moved back to nighttime conditions, how do you expect that to change the racing conditions? A little bit more downforce, more on-throttle time?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the race that we were pretty killer at last year, they had to go and change. No, I think honestly, the night racing there is a lot of fun. We've done it in the past, and I've loved it, to be honest, when we raced at night there. The track's a little bit more forgiving in those conditions, certainly. I think that helps open up both lanes, which is great. That's good for racing. It does give you a little more downforce. The tire deck will probably be a little less dramatic than we saw last year. But at the same time, I mean, it's a 6:15 start. So to call it a night race is maybe a little bit generous. I think it's going to be a dusk race. I think there's going to be a point of the race where the sun is in a very dangerous position based on what we've heard from people who have tested there recently. So I'm a little disappointed with the start time. But no, I think the Aero car, was obviously very strong last year. Everyone's had a year to get better. They've changed it from a daytime race to a nighttime race. So, I don't think we can expect to just roll off the truck and dominate or anything. But I think we can be strong and just need to have a good, clean weekend and keep chipping away at these points.
Take one further question from this side of the room, right side.
James, busy weekend. Tired?
Honestly, I've had enough experience doing this race to know what's too much, and I've got a great team of people around me that kind of help manage the calendar and know when to say no to stuff because I'm really bad at that. So other people have to do it for me. It was a bit different this year because we didn't have a race the weekend before. I was up here middle of last week, starting all the things, and we did a lot more stuff in the build up to this race. Am I kind of relieved we survived and got through it and are moving on to the next one? Yeah, certainly. But at the same time, it's always such a privilege to come home. The support's incredible. People wanting to talk to you and wanting to do stuff with you, that's a good problem to have. So it's always fun coming back, and I think we manage it pretty well.
Bruce is going to get the final question, I suppose.
This year, did it seem to be more difficult to pass here than in previous years? Because I know Scott Dixon was saying you just can't pass. And the other thing is, as bumpy as it is, it would almost kind of feel like an off-road race for a while.
Yeah, it does. Honestly, hands are a little blistered. You're sore in certain places that you're not normally sore, but that's kind of the nature of this place. As far as the passing goes, I think passing everywhere is difficult just because the level of competition is so high and the gap between drivers is so small. I don't know if it's any harder or easier to pass a car that would be the same, lap time delta as it would have been a year ago. I just think the lap time delta car to car is smaller. Everybody's getting better. The teams are getting better. It's second year with this body kit, so everybody's sort of figuring things out a little more. But I think it just speaks to the level of competitiveness in the series.
James, thank you, and we'll see you in a few days in Iowa.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.